Hello there guys, welcome to another my live video. So according to the mainstream media recently, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has drawn up an 8-man transfer list for long-term targets and that. It is good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is making plans for the January transfer window. It isn't long now anyway until the January transfer window opens and that. But I did say anyway, in the next couple of windows at least. Our recruitment has got to improve because our recruitment has been very, very poor, not only recently, but for several years and that. And obviously, with us not being in Champions League football, that's obviously going to make it hard for us, to attract players to the elite level, like it was hard, during the course of the summer and that. I do believe, from my own perception, we'll probably do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. So we'll look to sign one or two players in January. Obviously, the club have already, assured that Solskjaer will be giving money to spend next year. According to recent reports, though, Solskjaer is only going to be given around £200 million to spend over the course of the next couple of windows. But you could, do you think £200 million is enough, to address all the deficiencies in the squad? Do you think it's enough, for us, to bring us the right number of players that we do need? Because I recently said we need at least 5 to 6 more signings, maybe even more, if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club, and if we we are to be future title contenders. I've already gone through with you what areas I think Manchester United do need to address. So we definitely need one midfielder. Oh, should I say we need two midfielders? I think we need a CDM. We also need an attacking midfielder. We also need a right winger, and we also need at least one striker. But in that midfield, we definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera, and in that attacking line, we need to get an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. Because you can say we've looked very exposed in that attacking line. Following the dismissal of Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez. Obviously, we've looked better in that attacking line recently though, because Rashford's rejuvenated himself recently. Obviously, since Martial's come back into the team, he's added more inspiration in that attack of third in the pitch. But, I think the two priority areas is recommending at least one attacker in, and, we also need at least one midfielder without a shadow of a doubt. Solskjaer, I think, did say before that he wanted to continue the policy of recruiting young British players, like he did do during the course of the summer. But recent reports did reveal that Solskjaer could consider changing his transfer strategy in January. But yeah, so obviously, you can still say though that Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, because obviously analysing the vast majority of this team, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. There's only 3 players that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, that he did recommend into the football club during the summer. And we spent a substantial amount, during the summer. We spent, nearly £150 million on 3 players. We got Daniel James in for 18 million. We also got Anwan Bissaka in for around 50 million. And obviously, we've got Harry Maguire in for around £80 million. And like I mentioned, they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. So it was good during the course of the summer and that, that we did address some of the problematic areas. We got that experienced centre-half in that we needed. We also, got that right back in and that. But it was just a shame that we didn't address, all the problematic areas during the summer. But I did analyse it and say it was going to be extremely difficult for us, to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window. But the question is, is £200 million going to be enough for us next year? I had an estimated guess on it, and I did say we'll probably get from 250 to 300 million pounds to spend next year, and I did say we'd probably be orchestrating on spending a substantial amount on recruiting new players and that to the football club. So anyway, we have got a lot of players on our current agenda and that. I have been giving you a lot of the news, haven't I, recently? Regarding the transfers and that. Obviously, recent reports did say, we are orchestrating on spending up to £200 million on Erling Haaland and Jadon Sancho, because reportedly, it's going to cost us in the region of £200 million to recommend them both to Manchester United. Don't get me wrong, I think they would be the right calibre players for Man United, and I think they would dramatically improve us in that attacking line. Erling Haaland, is set to cost us in the region of around £85 million, and Jadon Sancho is set to cost us in the excess of around £100 million. I think the beneficial thing, though, about recommending Erling Haaland in is that obviously, he's played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance during his short period with Mould, and Solskjaer, of course, is keen on reuniting with the player. He has been a revelation for Red Bull Salzburg this season, and he's scored 26 goals in 18 games in all competitions and that. So he's actually a pretty decent player. He's only the age of 19. But I think if Erling Haaland did come to Manchester United, I think he probably would be able to replicate, what he's done this season with Red Bull Salzburg and that. Even though, it would be totally different for him if he came to Man United, because obviously he'd be a different team, he'd be in another country, he'd be playing monster, different players. But I think it's one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's, our main priority targets in that. But there has been a lot of speculation regarding Erling Haaland, at least in the last couple of weeks. But I think he would be a good replacement for Romelu Lukaku in that. And, I think he'd blend in alongside the likes of Dan James, Rashford and Anthony Martial in our attacking line. Obviously, I was reading recent reports, regarding Jadon Sancho. Obviously, it did recently say, we are regarded as the favourites to sign Jadon Sancho. If we are to get Jadon Sancho next year, I think it did say it's probably more imminent next summer we'll get Jadon Sancho, rather than January. But I think we may consider going in for him in January in that. Don't forget, Man United have been long admirers of Jadon Sancho. We was in for him during the course of the summer. We was also, in for him in January. We actually identified him as our main priority target back in January. There's been a few other clubs that have attracted their interest in him. Liverpool have been interested, PSG and also Real Madrid have been interested in Jadon Sancho. I think our move got screwed for Jadon Sancho. Obviously, of our failure to qualify for the Champions League. But I do believe, Jadon Sancho, would be the right calibre player for Man United. He is primarily a right winner. You can also, play him centrally. But so we have been long admirers of him. Obviously, now he's into his third season with Borussia Dortmund. I think he's endured mainly a difficult time this season with Dortmund, but in his first two seasons with Dortmund, he was absolutely fantastic. And since he's arrived from Man City anywhere back in 2017, he has been a revelation in Germany. But he's a very, very good player. I think he's still under contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022. Basically, Borussia Dortmund got him for next to no. They only paid around £7 or £8 million for him from Man City in that. He did obviously, enjoy a couple of seasons with Man City, but obviously, Man City couldn't assure him first team opportunities, and this is the main factor reason why he left City to join Borussia Dortmund and that. So his performances at Borussia Dortmund, and his time at Borussia Dortmund's been totally comparison to his time, when he was at Man City. Don't forget, before he was at Man City, he actually, began his career with Watford, and he was there for several years. But if we are to get him next year, we will probably more than likely have to pay, double figures for him, because reflect on his performances in a couple of years he's been with Dortmund, his valuation has persistently grown. So I do think that Erling Haaland and Jadon Sancho are our two main priority targets for next year. Moussa Dembele is one of them players on the 8-man list, that Solskjaer has. Obviously, we went in for Moussa Dembele during the course of the summer. I don't think he was one of our main priority targets. So what I mean in that aspect is that I think, we was tentatively linked with Moussa Dembele. If we do go in for him next year, I am aware that he will cost the club a substantial amount. We'll probably have to pay in the excess of around 60 or 70 million pounds for him. Obviously, he's now at Lyon. He's into his second season with Lyon. Lyon did pay around £20 million for him last summer from Celtic. He did enjoy a good couple of years in Scotland with Celtic and that. But I think also the beneficial thing about recommending Moussa Dembele is that, he's a prolific goal scorer. He's also played in the Premier League because don't forget, he began his senior career, with Fulham and that, and he had quite a few years there with Fulham. But I think if he came to Man United, he could replicate at Man United, what he's done at all them current teams, and he's still only 23. He is also an out-and-out number 9. He's Moussa Dembele, so he's another one of the players that's on my agenda. I think it's also very, very imminent that we are going to sign Mario Mandzukic in January. I've obviously been giving you an update on Mario Mandzukic quite recently, because recent reports have revealed saying that he has made a decision, regarding his future and that. And Mario Mandzukic reportedly, wants to join Manchester United in January. Now, reportedly, if we can reach an informal agreement with Juventus, before January, then he could actually, get recommended into the football club in December. So he could start training with Manchester United in December, could Mario Mandzukic. We obviously inquired about getting him towards the back end of the summer transfer window. Obviously, he's moved to Man United, then never materialised. I think, he'll only cost us around 12 or 13 million pounds anyway. So the good thing is he is a cheaper solution. Obviously, Man United are not going to be prepared to offer him a long-term contract, obviously, regarding his age, because Mario Mandzukic is around 33 years of age and that. So you can probably say he's only got a couple of years left in his footballing career. And he obviously he's now served his 2 requirements at Juventus anywhere, because since the recommendation of Maurizio Sarri, he hasn't played, I think, a single minute under Maurizio Sarri's guidance, as Mario Mandzukic. But in total for Juventus, he's made 162 appearances, in all competitions, and, scored 44 goals. So he's proven himself over the years with Juventus, and now this is his 5th season with Juventus. But I think it's actually very, very imminent that Mandzukic is going to be our first signing in January, our 4th signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solsjaker era, because I can definitely assure that, Solskjaer will be here by January. He'll also, still be here at the end of the season. Obviously, he's got a 3-year contract with the football club, because Solskjaer had been given that 3-year contract when he got given the job permanently, which was obviously in March earlier on this year. I'm sceptical about him seeing his 3-year contract out unless we can keep this good run of form up, because recently, we have rejuvenated ourselves. And and if we can recruit the right players next year, and that's also very, very imperative in that. And I said we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. But yeah, I think we're going to sign Mario Mandzukic, and that. I think a few other clubs have also been in for him. Obviously, there's quite a few midfielders on our agenda, as you are all aware. Don't forget, during the course of the summer, we was in for Bruno Fernandes, and, Bruno Fernandes was our main priority target during the course of the summer. But the main factor reason we didn't get him is because, we couldn't come to an agreement on a fee with Sporting Lisbon. Sporting Lisbon's valuation, Man United were basically reluctant to pay that, but we could reignite our interest next year. Declan Rice, he's another one of the players on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's agenda. Again, I think he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United. Would Declan Rice? He is only the age of 20, and he's actually primarily a defensive midfielder. He can also play as a centre back, but he is primarily a defensive midfielder in that. Declan Rice has actually cemented himself in West Ham's midfield, because his performances have been really good. He did well last season under Manuel Pellegrini. I think so far this season he's replicating what he did last season, and he's well Premier League proven. And Declan Rice initially learned his trade in the Premier League, because obviously before when he was at West Ham, he actually was at Chelsea, and he was in Chelsea's youth academy for around around 7 years or something like that. But he actually, never got into their first team. So he got axed from Chelsea's youth academy and obviously, went to join West Ham. But he's actually a product of West Ham's academy. But he's been in their senior squad now quite a few years. And now he's gone to make 73 appearances for West Ham in the Premier League. I think around 82 appearances in all competitions. And he's got a long-term contract with West Ham. He's still under contract with them until 2024. Again, if we went in for him next year, I think, he would cost the club a substantial amount and that. But I think, he would complement our midfield really, really well if he was to currently come in. James Maddison, he's another midfielder on our agenda in that. We was in actually for James Maddison as well during the course of the summer and that. Leicester obviously reluctant to offload him because Leicester do know how much an imperative player he is. Don't forget we did business with Leicester during the summer because we got the pursuit of Harry Maguire. Obviously, we paid £18 million for him. Obviously, he's the most expensive defender in the world and our second most expensive sign at the club. So if we were to get James Maddison, next year or some point in the future, then I do believe, Leicester, would demand the same or similar fee, to what they did do for Harry Maguire. So I do believe Leicester would probably want at least around 60, maybe even £70 million for James Maddison. But James Maddison, he's a very, very good player. He is primarily an attacking midfielder. But Brendan Rodgers, quite a few times has played him on the left-hand side. This is only now his second season in the Premier League, with Leicester. I thought last season he became fruition, because last season he created more chances than any other player in the Premier League. So I think he created around 100 chances. He's still got around 4 years left on his current contract with Leicester, but Leicester did get him for a reasonable figure. They only paid around £20 million for him from Norwich last summer. He had a good couple of years in the Championship with Norwich, so he's emulated himself up really, really well, coming all the way from the Championship, to the Premier League. Obviously, he began his career with Coventry when he was younger, and there was quite a few teams in there for him. But reportedly we've been in for James Maddison. Well, we've been interested in reportedly since June, and he is only 22 years of age, and he's still got a lot of development in him. I probably do believe we're seeing him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba anywhere. I think it's still unknown whether Paul Pogba, will go or stay next year. I'm very sceptical about him staying there next year because I still think, he wants out of the club. But regardless whether Paul Pogba stays or goes, we still need to address that current midfield. So yeah, there are a lot of players on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's agenda, and I think all them players, or you've got to say the vast majority of them players would be the right solutions for Manchester United. I give you the news, didn't I, earlier on regarding Gareth Bale. Obviously, more reports again have re-emerged about him. Now, reportedly, Gareth Bale could join Manchester United as early as January, because obviously Real Madrid haven't changed their perceptions regarding Bale. Obviously Real Madrid still want him out of their football club. Obviously Zinedine Zidane did confirm at the end of last season that Gareth Bale is no longer part of his plans and that, and obviously Real Madrid are basically looking to get rid of him. Real Madrid did sell some players during the summer, but they also spent a substantial amount, so they recruited a lot of players in. I think they spent around £300 million on 5 players. But they've been trying, for quite some time, to get rid of Gareth Bale. But I think, what seems to be the stumbling block of Bale leaving Real Madrid and going to another club is obviously reflects on his substantial wages, because Bale is on around £650,000 a week and that. So not many teams, can really, afford, to get him permanently. I think maybe Real Madrid have got a chance of. It's more likely they'll get rid of him if they loan him out. But a club like us, we can afford to probably pay his wages off because, we're a big, massive club. We've got massive revenues. But, so Real Madrid do want to get rid of Gareth Bale, and Bale's appearances have been limited for Real Madrid, especially this season. I think he's only played around 6 times. But Gareth Bale's been a long-serving player for Real Madrid. He's now into his seventh season, is it, as a Real Madrid player. He's obviously, endured 6 seasons with them. Obviously, Real Madrid got him back in 2013 from Tottenham. Real Madrid did pay £85 million from him, and that current at that current time. I think it was a club record, was it, at that current time? Yes, it was. I think he was I think he was actually the expensive player in the world, wasn't he? At that time, if I'm right. But analysing his time at Real Madrid, he's done quite well. Obviously, Gareth Bale is injury prone, so that's an element of concern. He has sustained a lot of injuries during his tenure with Real Madrid, and that he's still under contract with them, by the way, until 2022. But my element of concern about Man United bringing Bale in is that he's injury prone. Obviously, he's aging up. He's 30 years of age, is Bale, but you can still say he's got quite at least a few years ahead of him. And maybe if Bale did come back to the Premier League, maybe he would tear the Premier League, because he's obviously already played in the Premier League, which is also beneficial because he did enjoy 6 good years with Tottenham when he was younger. Also, before he was at Tottenham, he actually was at Southampton. He began his career with Southampton, but his versatility is good because Bale can play as a left winger. I think that's his predominant position. He can play him on the right. He can also, when he was younger, he started as a left back, did Bale. Obviously, there's a possibility, there could be a swap deal happening, between Bale and Paul Pogba. So, Bale could come to Man United as part of a deal of, Paul Pogba, going to Real Madrid. And basically, for the entirety of the summer transfer window, Paul Pogba was heavily linked with move to Real Madrid in that. And obviously, his preference was a move to Real Madrid in that during the summer. I think his perceptions probably will be the same now, saying that, he wants to make the move to Real Madrid next year. I think, one of the reasons, or it could be maybe just the reason why Paul Pogba's move to Real Madrid didn't materialise during the summer is reflecting on the substantial amount we put on Pogba. Reflect on the substantial amount, we put on Pogba. We was adamant he wasn't for sale anyway, because we know how much of an imperative player he is. But I think, we wanted around £180 million. So he was demanding over double, than what we paid for him from Juventus back in 2016, because we paid £89 million for him from Juventus in that. Obviously, he's our most expensive signing. But Real Madrid were reluctant, to pay up to £180 million. But during the summer, Zinedine Zidane, identified Paul Pogba as one of his main priority targets in that. Obviously, anyway, Paul Pogba's been out for the vast majority of this season with injury. As you all know, he's been out with injury. The last game he played in the league was the 1-1 draw with Arsenal, which was earlier on in the season. But Paul Pogba at the moment's got an ongoing ankle injury. As I did give you the news last week, that, he said Paul Pogba travelled to Amsterdam to have his ankle cast removed. So that indicates how he is closer to recovering from injury. But Solsjaker still confirmed he is not expected back until December. So his injury is obviously severe. They did say there was a slight chance he could be back for the Sheffield United game after this international break, but it is very, very unlikely. So to be honest with you, regarding that, I am very, very sceptical. He wasn't only linked with Real Madrid during the summer. He was also, there was a lot of narratives going on from the mainstream media about him possibly, making a return back to Turin, because Paul Pogba, did enjoy 4 fantastic years in Turin with Juventus, but hasn't really replicated this form at Manchester United. Paul Pogba's now into his 4th season since he rejoined the club from Juventus back in 2016. I think we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solsjaker was the interim manager. That's when we mainly saw the best of him and that. And you mainly see the best of him, when he is 3'd up. Paul Pogba's 26, he's still in his prime. He's still got a lot of development in him. But when he's in scintillating form, you could arguably say he's one of the best midfielders in the world, is Paul Pogba. He has still got 2 years left on his current deal with the football club, with an option to extend it by a further year. Paul Pogba is on £290,000 a week at Man United, so in that aspect, he is one of the highest paid players at the football club. So he's basically on a substantial amount. But Paul Pogba did confirm at the beginning of the summer anyway, he wanted to leave Manchester United, because he did reveal that he was seeking for a new challenge. But I think, it'll make a difference in our midfield anyway, when he is currently back. I know the likes of Fred and, McTominay have hit the ground running, in that midfield, to be fair. I think Fred's done really, really well recently. He's rejuvenated himself. And I think, in the vast majority of the games this season, Scott McTominay has done really, really well. And, Scott McTominay has deserved to keep his place in the team. I've got the same perceptions regarding, Fred and McTominay. I don't know if they're both the long-term solutions for Man United. Definitely, I don't know about that. Very, very sceptical. But, I'll credit them, recently, they've done really, really well. Obviously, I've got, I'm obviously concerned now, regarding McTominay's injury. Recent reports did confirm that McTominay, has obviously got an ankle injury. He's had initial scans on his ankle, obviously to, find out the extent of the injury. And it is actually now quite severe. And reports did recently say that he could be out for up to a month. He's set to miss the games against Man City and Tottenham next month. But you could say that McTominay is going to be a big miss. But he's deserved to, he's deserved to be a consistent star this season, reflecting on his impressive performances. McTominay obviously can't play for Scotland, so he actually recently, withdrawn from the Scotland squad. Fred, Solsjaker did confirm regarding Fred anyway that he will take Paul Pogba's position for a while. So basically Solskjaer's relying on Fred. Fred is obviously realising, that he's improving as a Manchester United player, which is very, very good. And he actually, believes that he's gaining more of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's trust. And he said, this is what's improving his form at Manchester United, and that because Fred recently now has been obviously getting more opportunities. I will agree on the aspects that Man United overpaid for him because we paid just under £50 million for him last summer from Shakhtar Donetsk and that. And we know he hasn't really replicated at Man United what he did do with Shakhtar Donetsk, but Fred still needs to be given more time at the football club. And don't forget, we got him back under the Jose Mourinho era, and under the Jose Mourinho era, Fred, never really got the opportunity in that. So at that time, I did give him the benefit of the doubt and that. But, we have seen glimpses, under the Solskjaer era of definitely, of how good, Fred can be. And I thought he was man of the match in the 3-1 win against Brighton before the international break. He put a very, very good performance out, and Solskjaer now did currently praise him. So fair play to Fred for that, definitely. And but I think, like I mentioned, a lot of players have stepped up to the plate recently, not only Fred and that, I think, Rashford has recently, rejuvenated himself, and I've been very, very impressed with Marcus Rashford and that. And I know I've criticised Marcus Rashford, for the vast majority of the season, but I think, he's done well recently, and I think he's scored 8 goals, has he, in his last 8 starts for club and country, so I do credit Rashford for that. But even due to his inconsistency, even during when he was obviously being inconsistent, I still believe then he's the long-term solution for Man United and that. But it's also beneficial that Martial's obviously now back anywhere, because he's obviously helping the likes of Daniel James and Marcus Rashford in our attacking line, as you all currently know. As you all currently knowing that, and but fair play to Rashford, he has done well recently. Like I said, Martial's been fantastic since he's come back. But yeah, a lot of players have stepped up to the plate, recently, which is obviously very, very good. We've also showed a lot of tactical flexibility, recently, which is also very, very good, obviously, because the vast majority of this season, we haven't really showed enough tactical flexibility. I know recently we have, and obviously, I've criticised Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for the vast majority of this season, because obviously we know he's been tactically naive, and some of his substitutions have been questionable. But yeah, like I said, we have done well recently anyway. I think, prior to the 1-0 defeat to Bournemouth, the other week, I think, we have rejuvenated ourselves since that 1-1 draw with Liverpool. And I think, reflecting on our good run of form recently, the pressure has eased off Ole Gunnar Solsjaker, because reflecting back before the Liverpool game, he was under intense pressure at the football club. I think, as you were all aware of, he was under a serious pressure. So you could arguably say that the Norwich game, arguably saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club. I think if we were to get rid of him now anyway, it wouldn't solve a lot of problems at the football club. Maybe even getting rid of him in the future or within this 3-year contract he's got, it wouldn't solve a lot of problems at the club, because Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager anyway. Since the Alex Ferguson era, obviously 3 managers have already been sacked from the football club, and I did say anywhere we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers and that. And if we did decide to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, obviously it probably would cost the club a substantial amount of money. We probably wouldn't have to pay as much as we did do to get rid of Jose Mourinho, but I still believe, we'd still have to pay quite a bit of money. But there's still a lot of Man United fans I do believe want him out. There's still some Man United fans, that are currently backing him and saying, we should still give him at least a couple more windows, to see who else he can recommend in to the football club. But Solskjaer still insists he's the right manager to elevate Man United forward. You've got Ed Woodward that's got the same perception as Solskjaer. He did recently assure that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job is safe. But even though, we have rejuvenated ourselves recently, I still believe we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. I think, we need to definitely get rid of our current board, because the board have been a liability for several years. To get rid of our current board. I also do believe that Ed Woodward is also a liability, so he is compatible to the board in that aspect. So obviously for our bad results and performances this season, obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is accountable for some of that and all that. So we need to see a variety of changes at the football club, and obviously, I still believe as well, like I've updated you on numerous occasions, that there is more players that do need to leave Manchester United. Even though a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. And obviously, Italy was a very popular destination. Italy was a very popular destination for the vast majority of our players during the summer and that, but I think at least another 4 or 5 more do need to depart, as I've updated you recently regarding that. But yeah, we need to see a variety of changes with the football club and that. And obviously we're sitting 7th in the league now, as you all know. Obviously, that win against Brighton before the international break put us 7th in the league and that. We still obviously know that we're not in the commanding position, that we should be, reflecting on the size and the potential of this club, and also, reflecting on the amount of money that's been invested. Yeah, the amount of money that's been invested into the football club over the years. At minimum, I think we should be challenging for that top 4. Because I did say at the start of this season anyway that our expectations this season will be to finish in that top 4. Perhaps maybe win some silverware, but more the top 4, so we can get into the Champions League and that. And at the moment, we're around 9 points behind our top 4, are we? Yeah, we are. So I think it's going to be very, very difficult, for us to currently get that top 4. But I did say anyway, our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. I think it will be in that, because we're not good enough to win the league at the moment. We're not good enough to mount many kind of title challenge up, and I don't think we're going to win the league for at least the next 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, depending on if we can get the right players to Man United over the course of the next couple of windows. But I did expect anyway like I confirmed at the start of this season, I did expect us, this season not to win the league or mount any kind of title challenger. But one thing I did expect this season was for us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season, and that's one thing I did currently expecting that. But obviously we've enjoyed our start to a Premier League season for over 30 years, is it? Obviously, the last time we had as bad a start to a season was this. I think it was back under the Ron Atkinson era. This was before the Alex Ferguson era by the way. But we're only 12 games into the Premier League season anyway. There's still a long way to go. A lot of twists and turns to come. We've won 4, drawn 4, and lost 4 so far in the league. So we've registered 16 points from a possible 36. And we still know that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. I think analysing us in our games in the Cup, they've actually seemed to be better than our games in the league, because I think we've won more, or we've won as much in the Cup, than we have done in the league. But Solsjaker, recently admitted anyway that our league form has definitely got to improve without a shadow of a doubt in that. But analysing, Solskjaer has only been at the football club around 11 months, overall. He's been permanent manager for around 8 months. Obviously, the vast majority of that 8 months, we do know it's gone all wrong. Obviously, in comparison, to when he was the interim manager in that 3-month period. But, maybe he still does deserve more time at the football club. I thought Solskjaer was a great player for us, for 11 years. He enjoyed 11 great years there with Man United and that. Obviously, he's totally comparison as a manager, to as he was as a player, because I just don't think he's really got that managerial experience to the highest level. He hasn't got any intuition really on how to manage a big football club like Man United. Despite the fact that he knows the traditions of the football club. But, like I said, though, still give him more time at the club and that. It was also a shame during the summer, that we didn't recommend a new director of footballing, because I did pinpoint out, didn't I? That's one of the structural changes, that we need to see at the football club. He's getting a new director of footballing. And there was quite a few former Man United players linked with the role during the summer and that. Ferdinand, Fletcher, also Patrice Evra. Van der Sar now is out of the equation because he just signed a contract extension with Ajax. But I did say anyway, overall, if we are to get a director of footballing, we need someone who knows the traditions of the club, someone who obviously would be reliable to obviously our transfer business, and someone who's got the right philosophy for the football club. But I'm very sceptical about us getting a director of footballing at this present time, especially. Yes, I really, really am. But obviously, analysed it this season anyway. We've endured a lot of injuries and that. A lot of players have been out of injury, so in that aspect, anyway, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had to make a lot of alterations in the squad. Solskjaer did confirm that more players are expected back, from injury after the international break. We recently got some good news regarding Diego Dalot as well. I just wanted to update you on. I think he's closer to recovering from injury, so I think maybe he will be in contention for the Sheffield United game, hopefully. He has only played a couple of times this season, Diego Dalot. I think Solskjaer also confirmed as well that Nemanja Matic, Tuan Zebe and Luke Shaw should be back after the international break. Matic has been out with a minor problem. Luke Shaw's been out with a hamstring injury, and Alex Tuan Zebe has been out with a hip injury. Like I said, Pogba and McTominay will be playing against Sheffield United, I don't think. Bay's obviously still out with injury until the end of the year. Fosu Mensah is still out with injury. So yeah, we have still got quite a lot of injuries. Like I did say as well, there's some aspects of me, that I do credit Solskjaer. There is. Obviously, I've got some element of concerns about him as well, as you all know. But But Solskjaer, one thing I do credit him for, he has got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players and that. And like I did recently mention that, I don't think they're all going to become a success at Manchester United, and this is why I did say it's beneficial, that we can get rid of some young upcoming players next year. But I can definitely assure that Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, Tuan Zebe, perhaps maybe even James Garner, they'll all become successes at the football club. These question marks around Solskjaer though, why isn't he played Mason Greenwood more regularly? Why is he not yet started him from the start in the Premier League and that? Mason Greenwood has scored 3 senior goals for the football club so far this season. I think his comparison to Rashford and Martial at the moment, but I think as he develops more, I think he'll definitely overcome Marcus Rashford. He'll obviously become a better goal scorer than Marcus Rashford. He's also an option on that right, but I think he's probably better in the number 9. Is Mason Greenwood. But so far in the senior squad this season, he's replicating what he did for the reserves last season. So I credit him for that. Brandon Williams has been absolutely fantastic. You can say now that left back has been confirmed. I think he's a much better solution than Ashley Young. He's also a better solution than Luke Shaw, despite the fact that Luke Shaw has been my first choice left back for quite some time. But Brandon Williams has earned more first team promotions, like I said he would do. If he was to keep the consistency up, which he currently has done. James Garner, I think in the games he's played in, he's also done really well. Andres Pereira, I think he needs more time at the football club, because obviously this season he's been operating in that playmaker's role. So we've got to obviously give him more time. He's had some good games this season. He's enjoyed some bad games, but give him more time. But yeah, there's a lot of young upcoming players in the squad. And but yeah, these some aspects of me anyway that do credit Solskjaer and that. But yeah, so I still don't think it's a long-term future for Man United, like I do keep mentioning. If we was to keep this good run of form up until the end of the season, or until January at least, then my perceptions, may start changing regarding Mulligan and Solskjaer. But till then, my perception, will be the same. I think also we've made several mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years, and I think one of the mistakes obviously was giving Solskjaer the job. I think you could arguably say it was a mistake from us, getting rid of Ander Herrera. I think maybe some Man United fans will believe us getting rid of Romelu Lukaku was a mistake. But Lukaku had to go anywhere, because he initially lost his place in the team. Did Lukaku? Lukaku endured 2 years with Manchester United. Obviously, he was exceptional in his first season at the football club. But they didn't really replicate that in his second season. Lukaku scored 42 goals in 96 games for the football club in all competitions in the 2 years he had with Man United and that. But I've got to be honest with you, I was happy with the money we did generate from his departure. We got about £74 million from Inter Milan, and I think since he's gone to Inter Milan, he's been a revelation for Inter Milan. I think he's replicating Inter Milan what he did in his first season that with Man United. But more or less we recouped the money that we did pay for him from Everton back in 2017. We paid around £75 million for him. And I do agree again, where we did overpay for him. It was 50 million add-ons initially in the deal, so it did rise up to around £90 million. But Lukaku's first touch obviously concerned me. He was a big game bottler, but he still obviously has that proven pedigree in the Premier League, and he is still only 26. Don't forget, recently Lukaku came out and said that Solskjaer tried to convince him to stay, but Lukaku did say in March that he obviously wanted to leave the football club anywhere, because Solskjaer's preference was Marcus Rashford over Romelu Lukaku. But you could say that was a mistake, obviously letting him go. Definitely, but like I said to you, a lot of money's been spent at Manchester United over the course of the last 6 or 7 years. A lot of money's been spent. I think around is it 800 million pounds that's been invested into the football club in all the managerial eras, you know, since the Ferguson era. It's something like that anyway, and that's just under £1 billion. And that's not taking into account, you know, what we spent under Alex Ferguson and that. It isn't, and you know, we haven't only spent big on players. You know, we've also got players on big contracts now. You know, you've got Rashford on 300 grand a week. You know, with bonuses included. You've got Martial on around 200 grand a week. You've got Pogba on 290 grand a week. You've got David De Gea on 375 grand a week. He's the highest paid goalkeeper in the world and the highest paid at the club. Harry Maguire on 200 odd grand a week, Lingard on just over 100 grand a week. So we have got players on big contracts at the football club, definitely. But yeah, I agree we should be much more commanding a position, you know, than winning now. Don't forget, recently Mike Phelan came out and he actually, you know, thinks that Solskjaer's following Matt Busby's philosophy at the club, and that Solskjaer, from his perception, did say in the summer that he was following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. You know, I think, you know, he's compatible to Ferguson in that aspect of obviously, you know, recruiting young players in that, because obviously, you know, reflecting back on the Ferguson era, you know, he developed a lot of young players. Did Alex Ferguson control the transfer policies, controlled a lot of the contracts, and obviously, I think, you know, Ferguson won about 38 major honours as Manchester United manager, so the vast majority of our silverware we won came under Alex Ferguson. Ferguson was at Man United for around 26 or 27 years. You know, it's obviously, you know, got a great legacy. I don't think Solskjaer or any other manager, you know, could invoke Ferguson's legacy at Manchester United, definitely. Yeah. But, you know, I just wanted to give you, you know, an update on some more transfer, you know, rumours and all that, as we always do on this channel. I will be back with more live videos tomorrow, by the way, as usual. So drop your comments, likes on the channel. Like I said, if you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care, God bless, and I'll see you guys all again tomorrow.